Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. General Dai Li was one of the most mysterious and legendary figures in modern Chinese history. He was not only the actual controller of the Military Statistics Bureau, commonly known as the Juntong, but also Chiang Kai-shek's most trusted and capable right-hand man. Many major secret operations could not have been executed without his behind-the-scenes planning and strategizing. However, this intelligence tycoon, once so powerful and influential, did not follow Chiang Kai-shek to Taiwan. Instead, he died suddenly in a plane crash in 1946 at the age of just 49, a tragic and unexpected end. The death of General Dai Li was shrouded in mystery from the very beginning. For decades, speculation and rumors about the truth behind his death have emerged one after another, never ceasing. The most bizarre version surfaced in the 1980s. At that time, an elderly woman in Taiwan, shortly before her death, revealed a shocking story. She claimed that General Dai Li's plane crash was no accident but was tied to an unknown conspiracy. However, few people believed her story. So what exactly caused the death of General Dai Li? And what special relationship did this woman have with him? Let us revisit this chapter of history together. In August 1945, Japan announced its surrender, marking the end of the 8-year-long war of resistance against Japan. After the war, Chiang Kai-shek began to grow wary of many of his subordinates, especially General Dai Li. Dai held immense power through the Juntong Secret Service network and wielded considerable influence within the Kuomintang, KMT. Chiang, known for his suspicious nature, naturally didn't want to see anyone become too powerful and overshadow him. But Dai Li was no ordinary figure. He quickly sensed Chiang's growing suspicion. To avoid direct confrontation, he continued to appear loyal and obedient. But in reality, he frequently went on inspection trips under the pretense of rooting out spies and visiting regional offices. He moved back and forth across northern and northeastern China. Then came March 17, 1946. That day, General Dai Li boarded a plane from Qingdao to Shanghai. Officially, it was a business trip. In truth, he was going to secretly meet his lover, the famous actress Hu Dai, who was a household name at the time. To avoid exposing his whereabouts, Dai Li changed his flight path at the last minute. Something he often did. Being from the intelligence world, his greatest fear was having his movements tracked or ambushed. He had altered his route many times in the past without incident. But this time, his luck ran out. On that day, the weather over Nanjing was terrible, with heavy rains pouring down. While flying over Nanjing, the aircraft encountered serious turbulence, and communication with ground control became intermittent. Eventually, the military transport plane, codenamed No. 222, lost all contact while attempting to land. Eyewitnesses reported seeing a plane crash into Mount Dai near Jiangning, Nanjing. By the time Juntong personnel arrived at the scene, they found nothing but wreckage and 13 bodies, including that of General Dai Li. And thus, in the midst of stormy winds and rain, the mighty spymaster who once controlled countless secrets, met his end. News of Dai Li's death quickly spread across the nation and immediately sparked widespread speculation. How could a man of such power and prominence simply die in an accidental plane crash, a conclusion that seemed far too convenient for many to accept? One theory suggested that Chiang Kai-shek had personally ordered Dai Li's elimination. However, according to Dai Li's close friend Du Weishan, this seemed unlikely. At the time, internal tensions were already running high within the Kuomintang, and the Communist Party was growing stronger by the day. Even if Chiang had suspicions, it was unlikely he would make such a drastic move at such a sensitive moment. Moreover, although the Juntong was powerful, it wasn't yet uncontrollably large or independent. Chiang still relied on Dai Li to maintain order. So why would he kill him so easily? Another, more dramatic, version of the story involves an ancient treasure, the Nine-Dragon Sword. According to legend, this sword originally belonged to Emperor Qianlong and was stolen from the eastern Qing tombs by the infamous tomb raider son Lianying. Later, the sword came into the possession of General Dai Li, who regarded it as a priceless treasure. However, the warlord Ma Han San once seized it for himself and eventually offered it to the Japanese. The sword ultimately ended up in the hands of Yoshiko Kawashima. In March 1946, Dai Li traveled to Beiping, now Beijing, to interrogate Yoshiko Kawashima. It is said that Ma Han San, fearing that Dai Li would uncover his betrayal and the secret of the sword, decided to strike first by orchestrating a mid-air assassination. Yet, this theory also lacks conclusive evidence. To make things even more mysterious, in 1948, Ma Han San was secretly executed in Nanjing by Mao Renfeng, Dai Li's successor as the head of the intelligence agency. All possible leads to the truth died with him. So what exactly caused the death of General Dai Li? In January 1988, a Taiwanese newspaper published a book titled Memoirs of Miss Chen, which stirred considerable public interest. One passage in the book was particularly shocking. Dai Li's death might not have been an accident, but rather a carefully arranged suicide planned by Dai himself. Who was this Miss Chen? Her name was Chen Hua, and she was once one of Dai Li's most beloved mistresses. Chen Hua came from a poor background. At the age of 13, she was sold by her biological parents to a brothel in Shanghai. From a very young age, fate had dealt her a cruel hand. But thanks to her beauty and intelligence, she quickly rose to prominence as a celebrated courtesan. Later, she caught the attention of Yang Hu, then commander of the Shanghai garrison, and became his third concubine. Yang Hu frequently brought her to social events, and Chen Hua moved skillfully through high society, expanding her network. In 1932, when Dai Li set up the Fuxing Special Operations Division in Shanghai, he was looking to expand his personnel. He reached out to Yang Hu, asking for help in recruiting talented individuals. A banquet was organized specifically for this purpose. It was at that banquet that Dai Li met Chen Hua for the first time, and was immediately captivated by her beauty and charm. Chen Hua, no fool herself, instantly recognized Dai's bright future. She began to assist him behind the scenes, not only emotionally but also in his career. Using her connections in Shanghai's elite circles, Chen Hua helped Dai Li recruit many agents and informants. Dai once remarked emotionally, "Half of my success today is thanks to Huamei, little sister Hua." Eventually, the two became a couple. On March 17, 1946, General Dai Li died in a plane crash. Afterward, the intelligence agency asked Chen Hua to help identify the body. She recognized it at once. On one hand, Dai Li had golden-laid teeth. On the other, his body was found in a peculiar position, his right hand raised and clenched tightly, a gesture that resembled how he usually held a gun. This detail raised questions in Chen Hua's mind. Could it be that General Dai Li had fired a gun inside the plane, causing the crash himself? She recalled one evening shortly before the crash. Dai was visibly depressed, pacing back and forth in the room. Then, out of nowhere, he said, "Huamei, if the old man really wants me dead, then I will die." The old man, of course, referred to Chiang Kai-shek. Because of this, Chen Hua always believed that the accident was actually General Dai Li's chosen way to end his life. That he had shot the pilot, causing the plane to crash into the mountain. His way of drawing the final curtain on his own story. However, this theory has never been confirmed, and Chen Hua only included this account in her memoir when she was 82 years old. Chiang Kai-shek was deeply grieved by the death of General Dai Li. At the funeral, he personally wrote the elegiac couplet and tearfully said, Only your death is beyond compensation. But the matter didn't end there. Shortly afterward, Chiang ordered an investigation into General Dai Li's estate. To his shock, he discovered that this most trusted subordinate had secretly amassed an enormous fortune. So vast that it could rival a nation's treasury. Furious, Chiang lashed out, accusing him of paying lip service while acting deceitfully, corrupt and greedy. Yet, despite those harsh words, whenever Chiang looked back in his later years, he couldn't help but sigh and say, "If Yunnong were still here, how could I have ended up like this?" According to historians, was General Dai Li's death truly an accident or a suicide? For decades, the debate has remained inconclusive. But regardless of the truth, this once dominant king of espionage, the blade most trusted by Chiang Kai-shek, ultimately brought his legendary life to an end. On that rainy spring day. Perhaps, as Chen Hua once said, the real answer is that General Dai had already carried the truth deep into the misty mountains, never to be known again. According to historical records, General Dai Li's most significant lifetime achievement was the founding of the Military Statistics Bureau, commonly known as the Juntong, a division under the Kuomintang's Military Affairs Commission. He organized vast numbers of agents and launched assassinations against notorious traitors, such as Zhang Jingyao, Zhang Xiaolin, Fu Xiaoan, and Gao Yuebao, all targets of the Juntong. In building this organization, Dai Li drew upon traditional Chinese values of loyalty and righteousness, while also integrating revolutionary ideas advocated by Sun Yat-sen. He aimed to blend these philosophies into the spiritual core of the Juntong. Despite his heavy workload, Dai Li personally acted as head instructor of the training classes whenever possible, placing great emphasis on both the training and ideological indoctrination of his agents. This hands-on leadership was reminiscent of Chiang Kai-shek's personal involvement in leading the Whampoa Military Academy. Dai often reminded his subordinates, "The history of the Juntong is written in the blood, sweat, tears, and even the lives of our comrades. More importantly, in moments of life or death, one must act without hesitation, fully prepared to sacrifice for the country and the cause." He likened the Juntong to a tightly united big family, emphasizing the use of traditional ethics to foster cohesion. For the families of fallen agents, Dai Li not only covered funeral expenses, but also ensured that their widows and children were well cared for. He sought to shape the Juntong into an organization that upheld righteousness and compassion, so that, beyond its iron discipline, agents could also feel the warmth of humanity and the care of the collective. The Juntong training courses were extremely rigorous. Trainees had to master a wide array of specialized skills, such as marksmanship, explosives, poisoning, and telecommunications. They were also required to study political theory, including the three principles of the people. During the War of Resistance against Japan, to maintain the high combat effectiveness of the Agent Corps, General Dai Li proposed slogans like, "How can one have a home before the barbarians are wiped out?" and "A needle cannot be sharp at both ends." He even explicitly prohibited agents from marrying during wartime. In his view, the mission of an agent involved national security. There was no room for distractions like family. It was precisely this ethos of wholehearted dedication to the nation that became the ideological cornerstone of the Juntong. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.